No one showed up for my son's surgery. 3 days later, Mom texted need $10,000 for your sisters. My name is Maya Hayes. I'm 34 years old. I'd been sitting on that hard plastic chair for 9 hours. 9 hours of staring at a beige wall, listening to the hum of the vending machine and praying. The air in the surgical waiting room was cold. It smelled like antiseptic and old coffee. My whole body ached. My eyes burned. My stomach felt like it was full of wet cement. Every time a doctor walked past, my heart would try to climb out of my throat. I was terrified. I was alone, then I saw her. A nurse walking toward me. Her shoes squeaked on the polished floor. My heart stopped. I couldn't breathe. Please, I thought. Please, let him be okay. Her face was kind, but so tired. Ms. Hayes? I just nodded. I couldn't find my voice. The surgery went well. He's in recovery. He's a very strong little boy. I collapsed back into the chair, the relief so strong it made me dizzy. I started to cry, silent, ugly tears. Thank you, I whispered. Thank God. She nodded, but her smile was sad. She hesitated. There is one thing, she said. Her voice trembled just a little. He was scared when he woke up. He kept asking why no one came. I looked up. What? He kept asking. Where's Grandma? Where's Grandpa? Where's Auntie Chloe? He kept asking why no one came. No one came. Not my mother. Not my father. Not my sister. No one. My son is 6 years old. He still believes love is something you can earn by being good. I sat in that sterile corridor, the fluorescent lights humming overhead, and something inside me just broke. And before I tell you how everything flipped, like and subscribe. Drop a comment. Where are you watching from? It wasn't always this cold. Or maybe it was, and I was just the one paying to keep the heat on. The signs were always there, but I was too busy being the good daughter to read them. I used to be their miracle. That's what they called me. Maya, you're our miracle. It was a name I earned. It was a name I paid for. I remember the first time I saved them. I was 22. I had just graduated from college and landed a good job in the city. I was working 60-hour weeks. I lived in a tiny studio apartment with a single window that looked at a brick wall. I was proud of it. I was saving every dollar. I had a dream. I wanted to buy a small condo, a place that was just mine. I had $63,000 saved. It was my whole life in a number. Then Dad's business collapsed. He was a contractor, always proud but not good with money. He called me on a Tuesday, his voice thick. Maya, honey, I'm ruined. They're going to take the house. He had used the family home as collateral for a high-interest loan, the one I grew up in, the one where my sister still lived, rent-free. He owed $60,000. He needed it in 3 days, or they would be homeless. I looked around my tiny cubicle. I thought about my condo, my dream. I'll handle it, Dad, I said. My voice was flat. I didn't even think. I just did it. You're a miracle, Maya, a miracle. I wired the money the next morning. My savings account went from $63,000 to $3,000. Just like that. I gave up my dream so they could keep their house. I stayed in that tiny studio for 3 more years. On holidays, Dad would put his arm around me, his voice booming for all the relatives to hear. This one, he'd say, she saved us. We'd be lost without her. Everyone would nod. I'd smile and say nothing. I thought that's what family did. You show up. You fix it. I didn't realize they thought family meant Maya. A few years later, it was Mom. She got sick. It started as a pain she wouldn't talk about. Then she couldn't ignore it. The doctors at the local hospital were worried. Mom was terrified. My sister Chloe just cried and said, I can't handle this, so I handled it. I spent nights on the internet researching. I found the best specialist in the state 3 hours away. He wasn't in her network. Her insurance wouldn't cover it. We can't afford that, Maya, Dad said. I can, I said. I paid for the consultation. I paid for the new tests. I paid for the surgery. It wasn't cancer, thank God, but it was serious. It required a long recovery. I covered every medical bill. I hired a private nurse for the first 2 weeks because Chloe was too emotional to help. I drove down every single weekend to check on her, to cook, to clean. When Mom was finally better, she held my hand. You're my rock, Maya. What would I do without you? I'm just glad you're okay, Mom, I said. The emergencies never stopped. They just got smaller, more normal. Maya, the water heater broke. Can you help? I paid for it. Maya, I have a few cavities. The copay is so high. I paid for it. The last straw should have been Chloe, my sister. She was 2 years younger than me but acted 10. She was the creative one, which meant she was irresponsible. She wrecked her car. She was texting, of course. She hit a pole. She needed a car for her job, which was selling handmade jewelry at a local market. She couldn't get a loan. Her credit was terrible. Maya, please, she cried. I'll pay you back. I swear. Chloe, you can't afford a new car, I told her. Just get a bus pass. A bus? She shrieked. You want me to take a bus? I can't. Then Mom got on the phone. Maya, honey, don't be so hard on her. She's fragile right now. We have to take care of each other. Isn't that what you always do? So I bought her a new car. I co-signed the loan, which meant I was the one making the payments. Chloe made exactly 2 payments before she forgot. I'd be lost without you, Maya. She texted me. They weren't lost without me. They were comfortable because of me. When I met my husband, Mark, they were polite. But they didn't like him. He saw them. Maya, he said once, they're like beautiful exotic plants. And you're the only one watering them. I got defensive. That's not true. They're my family. He knew. When Mark died, it was a car accident. Sudden. Horrible. I was a widow at 30. Our son, Ethan, was 4. My family showed up for the funeral. They cried. A week later, the calls started. Maya, honey? I know it's a bad time, but the property taxes are due. Maya, I hate to ask, but with Mark's insurance money, I need a small loan. I paid. I always paid. Because I was their miracle. I was their rock. And I was an idiot. I was so busy being their savior, I didn't realize I was drowning. Generosity had become their oxygen, and I was the supply they thought would never run out. My son, Ethan, was born with a heart murmur. Mark and I were told it was small. Most children grow out of it, the doctor said. For 6 years, it was just a note in his file. But after Mark died, the shadow on his chart started to grow. Ethan got tired. He'd get out of breath playing tag. He'd sit on the steps, his face pale, and say, I'm sleepy, Mommy. My heart would ache. His new doctor, a kind man with sad eyes, ordered more tests. I sat on a small plastic chair in a cold exam room. Ethan was drawing superheroes in his notebook. He was humming. He had no idea. I felt sick. The doctor came in. He didn't smile. Maya, he said, the hole isn't closing. It's straining his heart. We need to operate. My blood went cold. Open heart surgery? Yes, the success rate is very high, but it is serious. And it needs to be done soon. Ethan looked up. Mommy, are you okay? I forced a smile. I'm fine, sweetie. Just fine. I scheduled it. That night, I sat in my kitchen in the dark. I cried. I cried for my son. I cried for Mark. I had never felt so alone. Mark would have known what to do. He would have held me. I was all alone. I picked up my phone. I needed my mom. I called her. She picked up on the 3rd ring. Maya, hi. Chloe and I are looking at floral arrangements. Peonies are so expensive, it's just crazy. My sister was getting married. It was all they talked about. Mom, I said, my voice shaking. What's wrong? You sound terrible. It's Ethan. I told her everything. The doctor. The hole in his heart. The open heart surgery. I waited for her to say, I'm coming over. There was a silence. Then Mom said, oh, honey, that's awful. I'm sure he'll be fine. Kids are so resilient. Mom, it's open heart surgery. I know. It's just, the timing is terrible. With the wedding just 2 months away. Chloe is so stressed. Please don't tell her this right now. It will set her off. I couldn't speak. Listen, Mom said, her voice practical. You're strong. You'll handle it. You always do. Just keep us updated, honey. Then she asked me if I liked lavender or white roses. I hung up. The next 2 weeks were a blur. Tests, doctors, insurance calls. I was terrified. I couldn't sleep. I would go into Ethan's room and just watch him breathe. I kept waiting for my family to call. Dad sent a text. Heard the news. Tough break. He's a fighter. Chloe sent a text. OMG, so scary. Sending good vibes. Can't talk, wedding planning is literally killing me. LOL. The day of the surgery, I checked Ethan in at 5 a.m. Mommy, will it hurt? He whispered. Only for a little bit, baby. Then you'll be all better? I kissed him. They wheeled him away. I went to the waiting room. I pulled out my phone. I sent a text to the family group chat. Taking Ethan back now. Surgery is 10 hours. Please pray. Mom replied, keep us updated, honey. 10 hours. I drank bad coffee. I walked the halls. I stared at my phone. Not one call. My mother lived 40 minutes away. My father in the same town. My sister an hour. No one came. I called Mom. Voicemail. I called Dad. Voicemail. I called Chloe. Voicemail. The silence was so loud. I sat in that waiting room, a 34-year-old woman, and I felt like an orphan. I paid for the house they were in. I paid for the car my sister drove, and no one could even call. Hour 9, the surgeon came out. Maya, he did great. The surgery was a complete success. I collapsed back into the chair and sobbed. I texted the group. He's out. Surgery was a success. Mom, wonderful news. See, I told you he'd be fine. Chloe sent a heart emoji. For 3 days, I lived in that hospital. I slept in the chair. I ate from a vending machine. I didn't leave his side. My phone was quiet. No one offered to bring me a coffee. No one offered to sit with me for an hour. No one. On the 3rd day, Ethan was sitting up drinking juice. I was brushing his hair when my phone buzzed. It was Mom. I smiled. Finally, I thought. She's going to come visit. I opened the message. Hi, honey. Glad Ethan is better. Listen, Chloe found the perfect wedding dress, but it's a designer sample and we have to buy it today. It's a steal, but I need you to help. Need $10,000 for your sister's wedding dress. I read it twice. I looked at my son with tubes in his chest. My mother wanted lace and silk. The text didn't even ask about him. Glad Ethan is better. A period. An afterthought. Then the real reason. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. Something inside me, that thing that had been cracking for years, finally shattered into dust. And in its place, something new and hard and cold settled in. It was the end. I just stared at that message. Need $10,000 for your sister's wedding dress. Not, can you help? Just need, a demand, a transaction. A nurse was in the room checking Ethan's monitors. The machine made a soft beep, beep, beep. I didn't cry. My tears had dried up in that waiting room. A cold, quiet anger settled over me. It wasn't hot like fire. It was cold like ice. It was the kind of anger that doesn't scream. It acts. I closed the text. I opened my banking app. My hand was perfectly steady. The beep, beep, beep of the monitor was a rhythm. I tapped transfer. I selected my mother's name. Mom, emergency. That's what I had her listed as. I almost laughed. For the amount, I typed €1. In the memo line, I typed, buy a veil. I hit send. Then I put my phone down. I watched my son sleep. I just watched him breathe. In, out. He was alive. He was going to be okay. And I was going to be okay too. I reached into my bag and pulled out my laptop. I plugged it into the wall. I logged into my bank's website. Years ago, I had tried to make things easier for them. I had added Mom to my main checking account as an authorized user, just in case of an emergency. I had given Dad a credit card on my account for gas and work expenses. I was co-signed on Chloe's car and her credit card. I had built them a safety net. I saw it clearly now. I hadn't built a safety net. I had built a hammock, and I was the tree they had tied it to. They were relaxing, while the weight was splitting me in two. I clicked on my credit card statement. I scrolled. $2,300. The Grand Spa. 2 months ago. Mom was so stressed by wedding planning. I had told her to take a weekend. I didn't mean a luxury spa with Chloe. $4,800. Cabo San Lucas Resort. 6 months ago. Chloe was devastated after a breakup. She needed to get away. She took 2 friends to an all-inclusive. $4,500. Pro Golf Warehouse. Dad. He needed new clubs to network. It wasn't just the big things. It was hundreds of tiny ones. $80. La Petite Bistro. Chloe. $120. Nails by Design. Mom and Chloe. It was a constant, steady drain. 1,000 tiny cuts. They weren't just using me for emergencies. They were using me for everything. My money was their money. My work was their comfort. Vacations, dinners, clothes, it was a lifestyle. My lifestyle? No, I drove a 10-year-old car. I packed my lunch. I was funding their lifestyle. I realized my kindness wasn't kindness. It was a weapon, and they had been using it against me for a decade. I thought of the $10,000 text. It wasn't a request. It was an invoice. It was the cost of being my mother. The cost of being my sister? They believed I owed them this. I went to the Manage Users screen. Mary Hayes, authorized user. I clicked the small gray X. Are you sure? Confirm. Robert Hayes, authorized cardholder. Click. Confirm. Chloe Hayes. Authorized user. Click. Confirm. Her card would be deactivated immediately. I went to the car loan website. Chloe's car. It was a joint loan. I looked at the balance. $8,400. I clicked pay bill. I paid the entire thing. All of it. From my savings. It hurt. But then I opened my email. I wrote to the loan company. The loan is paid in full. I am the primary cosigner. Please mail the car title to me, Maya Hayes, at my address. Not to her. To me, the car was in my name. Now I held the title. My phone buzzed. Mom, $1? One? Is this a joke? I'm going to the bank right now. You must have locked the account by accident. Fix it. Chloe. WTF, Maya? My card just got declined for my wedding shoes. Shoes! You are trying to ruin my life! Dad. Your mother is very upset. Call her. You need to fix this. I stared at the messages. I didn't feel anger. I felt light. I put my phone on silent. I turned off my laptop, and for the first time in days, I closed my eyes. And I rested. The next morning, I woke up stiff in the hospital chair, but I felt peace. Ethan was awake, watching cartoons. Hi, Mommy, he whispered. Hi, my love. I kissed him. My phone was a brick of notifications. 14 missed calls from Mom. 8 from Chloe. 3 from Dad. I deleted them all. I knew this wasn't over. I had cut the cards. But the joint account with Mom was a bigger problem. She had full access. I had to fix that. Permanently. I called my bank. I asked for the manager, Mr. Henderson. Maya, he said. How are you? I'm okay, Mr. Henderson. I'm at the hospital with my son. I have a problem with my accounts, I explained. I have a joint checking account with my mother, Mary Hayes. I need to close it. Today. He was quiet. Well, Maya, with a joint account? She has just as much right to that money as you do. You can't close it without her. My heart sank. What can I do? You can withdraw your half, he said. Or, well, you can withdraw all of it. It's your money, too. You can empty the account. Then open a new account in just your name. I looked at the balance. $20,000 my paycheck had just deposited. Okay, I said. I want to move all of it, every cent, into a new account. Under my name only. Right now. Yes, I can do that. I heard him typing. Okay, Maya, it's done. The old account has a 0 balance. I'll leave it open, but it's empty. Thank you, Mr. Henderson. Maya, he hesitated. I have to tell you, I think you're making the right move. Your mother was here yesterday. Late afternoon. I went cold. She was? Yes, she was quite upset. She tried to cash a check for $10,000. It was written from your account to your sister. I closed my eyes. She wrote a check? Yes, from the joint account. I told her the funds weren't available. I put a hold on it. I had a feeling something wasn't right. She said it was for a wedding dress. He had saved me. Mr. Henderson, you're a good man, I said. You just take care of your son, Maya. I had done it. I had frozen the accounts. I had revoked every authorization. They were locked out. At 9:43 a.m., my phone rang. Mr. Henderson's private line. I answered. Hello? Ms. Hayes, it's Mr. Henderson. His voice was low, tense. What's wrong? Your parents and your sister are here. They are in my office. I could hear a faint, high-pitched voice in the background. Chloe. It's our money. Tell her. They're upset, he said. I'm sure they are, I said calmly. Your mother's debit card was declined. They are demanding to know what's wrong with the account. There's nothing wrong with my account, Mr. Henderson. They said you cut them off. I took a deep breath. I looked at the scar on my son's hand from the IV. No, I replied. I corrected an error. A clerical error that has gone on for 10 years. There was a long silence. I heard my mother's voice, muffled. What is she saying? Tell her to fix it. Ms. Hayes, Maya. What do I tell them? You tell them the truth. Their names are not on my accounts. They are not authorized. The joint account has a 0 balance. They are threatening to call the police. They are saying you stole their money. I almost laughed. My money, Mr. Henderson? My paychecks? It was always my money. Tell them to go ahead. I'd be happy to show the police my bank statements. And theirs. He was silent. Should I mark them as... That piece lasted for exactly 15 minutes. My phone, which I had put on the small table, began to vibrate. It didn't just buzz. It rattled. It skittered across the metal surface, an angry, buzzing insect, desperate to be heard. I looked at the screen. Mom. I let it ring. The vibration was loud in the quiet room. It stopped. Immediately, it started again. Mom. I let it ring. I watched the screen light up with her name. It stopped. A new call. Chloe. I watched it buzz. It was like watching something from a distance. It didn't feel like it was my phone. It was their problem, not mine. I let it ring. It stopped. A new call. Dad. He never called unless it was a major problem. This confirmed it. I let it ring. Then the texts started. They came in so fast, my phone couldn't keep up. It was just a constant vibration. Buzz, buzz, buzz. A storm of them. It was like the phone was having a seizure. I picked up the phone. It was hot in my hand, as if their anger was coming through the device. I opened the messages. Mom. Maya Elizabeth Hayes. You call me this instant. Mom, they kicked us out. They had security escort us out of the bank. Your bank. Mom. What did you do? Mom. You are humiliating me. I read that. Humiliating me? My son just had his chest cut open, and she was worried about being humiliated at a bank. She wasn't worried about being a grandmother. She was worried about her pride. Mom, this isn't funny, Maya. Fix it. Mom, I know you're seeing these. Mom, Chloe is crying. She is hysterical. You are ruining your sister's wedding. Mom, fix it. Now. Then from Dad. Dad, your mother is falling apart. You need to stop this. Dad, this is not how we raised you. This is not how we raised you. He was right. They raised me to be their wallet. They raised me to be silent and to pay. They did not raise me to have a backbone. Dad, you are being disrespectful and cruel. Cruel, I thought. Where were you 3 days ago? Where were you for 9 hours while I was crying on a plastic chair? Was that respectful? Was that kind? Dad, whatever game you are playing, it's over. Dad, call the bank. Tell them it was a mistake. We can forget this ever happened. We can forget. Oh, I was sure they could. They would forget in a second, as soon as the money started flowing again. But I wouldn't. I would never forget the silence. Dad, be a good daughter for once. A good daughter. The words felt like a punch. A good daughter paid the bills. A good daughter kept quiet. A good daughter was a bank, not a person. A good daughter put their feelings before her own child's life. I thought about my son. Be a good son, I whispered to him. But never be a good anything for people who treat you like a service. He was asleep. He didn't hear. Then the messages from Chloe. Hers were different. Pure, uncut rage. Chloe. Chloe. Bitch, Chloe. You fucking bitch, Chloe. My card, my wedding shoes, my dress. Chloe. You are a jealous, ugly, childish bitch. Chloe. You've always been jealous of me. Always. Jealous? I thought. Jealous of what? Your inability to hold a job? Your complete lack of responsibility? Your fake life that I was paying for? Your stress over flowers while my son was in surgery? Chloe, you have your stupid kid and your stupid life and you want to ruin mine. My stupid kid. My blood went from ice cold to burning hot. My stupid kid with the zipper scar down his chest. Chloe, Mom is having a panic attack. Chloe, I hope you're happy. Chloe, I hope you're happy you are tearing this family apart. I'm tearing it apart? I thought. I'm the one tearing it apart? Or am I just the one who stopped holding the rotten pieces together? Chloe, Dad says he is going to sue you. Chloe, you stole his money. Chloe, we are calling the police. I put the phone down. I stared at the wall. The police? Sue me. For my own money. For not giving them my money. The logic was insane. It was the logic of people who had been on a free ride for so long, they thought the driver was their servant. They weren't angry that I had been hurt. They weren't sorry they had missed my son's surgery. They weren't ashamed. They were angry that the ATM was broken. They were angry that the supply had been cut. I was not a person to them. I was a resource. And now that the resource was gone, I was an enemy. It was that simple. It was that horrible. I picked up the phone again. The texts were still coming. They had started a group chat. Family emergency. They had added me to it. It was a stream of their panic. Mom, Maya, this has gone far enough. Your father is talking about his heart. You know he has a bad heart? Dad, don't be dramatic, Mary. My heart is fine. Maya, this is theft. That's what it is. Chloe, she's a thief. She stole from us. Chloe, my wedding, Maya. My one day? You're destroying it. A nurse came in. A kind woman with gray hair. How's he doing? She whispered, checking Ethan's IV. My phone buzzed again, angrily. Bizz, bizz. I fumbled and hit the silent switch. I was embarrassed. He's okay, I whispered back. Just sleeping. And how are you? She asked, her eyes looking at my phone, then at me. I'm fine, I lied. She patted my shoulder. You're doing great. He's a lucky boy. She left. I was alone again. I looked at their words. My heart. My wedding. My money. Me. I thought about Ethan. I thought about the nurse's voice. Your son kept asking why no one came. No one came. They were at the bank. They were at the bridal shop. They were at the spa. They were anywhere but here. They were never, ever here. I didn't reply to the group chat. I let them scream into the void. I let them panic. I waited all day. The texts slowed down. They turned from anger to desperate pleading. Mom, Maya, honey, please, I'm sorry. I don't know what we did, but I'm sorry. You don't know what you did? I thought. You really, truly don't know. That was the most painful part. They didn't even see it. Mom, please call me. We're scared. Mom, don't do this to us. Don't throw your family away. I saw a missed call. A voicemail. I didn't mean to, but my thumb slipped and I listened to it. It was Mom's voice. Maya, honey, she was crying. But it was the fake, high-pitched cry she used when she wanted something. It wasn't the real ugly cry of grief. Maya, you've gone too far. This is just cruel. Your father is beside himself, Chloe. Chloe's wedding. You're ruining it. You have to fix this. Just call the bank. We can talk about it. We can even pay you back. Sometime. Please, Maya. You're our miracle. Click. I deleted it. Pay me back. A lie. Our miracle. A name for a tool. They were like vampires. When the threats didn't work, the seduction began. The I love you, the I'm sorry, the family. It was all just a different key to the same lock. The lock on my wallet. I didn't reply. I ate dinner with my son. I helped him hold the little plastic cup. I read him a story about a dragon who lost his fire. I sat with him while he fell asleep. The hospital lights dimmed. The beeping machines were the only sound in the hallway. It was peaceful. That's when I picked up my phone. It was 10:30 p.m. The screen was black. I turned it on. 38 missed calls. 114 new texts. I opened a new text message. I added Mom. I added Dad. I added Chloe. I typed slowly. My thumbs were steady. There were no tears. There was no anger. There was just the end. 3 days ago, my son had open heart surgery. None of you came. None of you called to ask how he was. But you remembered to ask for money. Love isn't a transaction. The accounts are closed. Just like that chapter of my life. I read it one time. It was perfect. It was the truth. I hit send. I watched the delivered receipt pop up under the message. Then, before they could reply, before the biz could start again, I did the last thing. I tapped on Mom's name. Block this caller, a pop-up. Are you sure? I thought of her text. The $10,000, confirm. I tapped on Dad's name. Block this caller. Be a good daughter for once. Confirm. I tapped on Chloe's name. Block this caller. You're stupid kid. My thumb pressed so hard I was surprised the screen didn't crack. Confirm. I turned my phone off. I put it in my purse. I zipped the purse. I put it on the floor. I looked at my son. I pulled the thin hospital blanket up to his chin. I sat in the chair, and for the first time the silence was my own. It wasn't their silence, the one they used to punish me. It was mine. And it was peace. Leaving the hospital was harder than I expected. Ethan was cleared to go home 5 days after the bank incident. The nurses all said goodbye. You're such a good mom, one of them said, patting my arm. You've been here every second. I smiled, but her words felt strange. I was a good mom to Ethan, but what was I to them? Heartless. Cruel. A bitch. Their words were silent, but they followed me. They were ghosts in the elevator. I put Ethan in his car seat. He was so small, but he was getting stronger. I drove home. The silence in the car was heavy. My phone was on. I had turned it back on, but it was quiet. No calls, no texts. I had blocked them. But there were other ways. Emails, social media, mutual friends. Nothing. I had cut them off and they were gone. It was like I had pushed a button and they had vanished. It was unsettling. I had been their son, their bank, their rock. I had been something to them. Now I was nothing. We got home. I carried Ethan inside. The house was cold. I had been gone for almost a week. It smelled stale. I put Ethan on the sofa with his blanket. I turned on the TV for him. I walked through the rooms. Everything was just as I had left it. But it all felt different. There, on the fireplace mantel, was a picture. It was from last Christmas. Me, Mom, Dad, Chloe, all of us smiling. Mom had her arm around me. My rock, she had called me. I looked at her smiling face, and a wave of guilt, so strong it made me dizzy, washed over me. She's still your mother. A voice in my head, a voice that sounded like hers, whispered, "How could you? She raised you. She fed you. She loved you, did she?" Another voice answered. Or did she just manage you? You abandoned them, Maya. You left them with nothing. They are your family. Family, family, family. The word echoed in my head. What did it even mean? Was it just a word for people you are required to give your money to? Was it just a word for people who are allowed to hurt you? I grabbed the picture frame. My hand was shaking. I opened the back. I pulled the photo out. I looked at their faces. My father smiling, wearing a sweater I bought him. My sister laughing, showing off earrings I paid for. My mother holding my hand in the house I had saved. I was not a person in this photo. I was the background. I was the set dressing. I was the one who made the happy scene possible. And I was done. I tore the picture in half. And then I started to cry. It wasn't a clean cry. It was ugly. It was the cry of a 34-year-old orphan. I was grieving. I wasn't grieving them. I was grieving the idea of them. I was grieving the mother I wished I had. The one who would have shown up at the hospital. The one who would have held my hand in the waiting room, not asked for my credit card. The one who would have made me soup. I was grieving the father I deserved. The one who would have been proud of me, not just of my salary. The one who would have said, "Don't worry, Maya, I'll take care of this." Just once. I was grieving the sister I wanted. The one who would have been my friend, not my rival. The one who would have called and said, "I'm so scared for Ethan. I'm coming to the hospital." I was grieving the family in the picture. The one that was a lie. A complete, expensive, exhausting lie. For weeks, the silence echoed. Every time my phone was quiet, I felt a pang of, what, relief? Yes, but also doubt. Did I go too far? Was there another way? Maybe I should have just given them the $10,000. If I had just paid it, it would have been easier. They would have loved me for another week. I would have been their miracle again. The thought made me sick, but the habit of being their savior was hard to break. It was an addiction. And I was in withdrawal. The quiet was too quiet. The lack of drama was strange. My whole life had been a series of fires. I was always the firefighter. Now there were no fires. And I didn't know what to do with myself. I wondered what they were doing. I wondered if they were okay. I wondered if they hated me. Of course they hate you. You took away their oxygen. They are probably, what, homeless? Broke? I felt a surge of panic. What if Mom gets sick again? What if Dad's car breaks down? What if I stopped? That is not your problem. That is not your problem. That is not your problem. I said it over and over like a prayer. But I felt like a monster. A heartless daughter. A cruel sister. I felt like the villain in their story. And I hated feeling this way. I was so busy taking care of Ethan, who needed me, who was getting stronger every day. His cough was better. His color was back. But I was weak. I was a mess. I would check my email, half expecting a message from a lawyer. I would check my blocked calls just to see if they had tried again. They had, at first, dozens of times. Then, it stopped. I was looking over my shoulder, waiting for the other shoe to drop. One night I was giving Ethan a bath. It was about a month after the surgery. He was splashing, making his toys talk. He was happy. He was healthy. "Okay, buddy," I said. "Time to get out." I lifted him from the warm water. He was small, and he smelled like soap. I wrapped him in a big, soft towel. He turned and I saw his chest. The scar, it was not small. It was a long pink line, right down the middle of his little body. It was still new. It was still angry-looking. A physical, permanent reminder of what he went through. Of what we went through, I touched it. My finger traced the line. It was real. All the doubt, all the what-ifs. They were just noise. This was real. The text from my mom, that was real. The empty waiting room, that was real. The nurse's voice, that was real. Ethan looked down. My zipper, he called it. Does it hurt? I asked, my voice thick. He shook his head. Nope, it's my superhero scar. You said so. I had said that. He smiled up at me. He had no idea. He had no idea of the war that had been fought while he was sleeping. He just knew I was there. I held him. I just held my son, and I looked at that scar. That's when I realized my doubt. It was a luxury I couldn't afford. My guilt. It was a poison. It was the old programming. The be a good daughter programming. The programming that told me their wants were more important than my needs. The programming that told me their comfort was more important than my son's life. The scar was the answer. The scar was the truth. While I was agonizing over their feelings, this had happened. While I was wondering if I was cruel, they had been cruel. They had proven it. They had seen my son's life or death surgery as an inconvenience. They had seen my terror as a good time to ask for cash. I wasn't the villain. I was the survivor. I was the one who had finally chosen the right person. I had chosen my son. I kissed Ethan's head. Mom, you're squeezing me, he giggled. Sorry, baby. I let him go. I looked at the scar one more time, and the doubt was gone. It didn't just fade. It broke, like the picture. It was replaced by a cold, hard, quiet power. I hadn't gone too far. I had simply stopped walking toward people who never moved an inch toward me. I had stopped setting myself on fire to keep them warm, let them be cold. I had my son, and I would keep him warm. That was my only job now. My only family. A month turned into 2. My life became simple, quiet. I went back to work. My boss was understanding. He let me work from home 3 days a week to be with Ethan. I dropped Ethan off at school. I picked him up. We made dinner. We read books. We watched movies. It was normal. It was boring. It was the most beautiful life I had ever had. My phone was quiet. It was a tool, not a weapon. It was for scheduling, for friends, for Ethan's school. It was no longer a bomb waiting to go off. I hadn't heard a single word from them. The block was total. I had unblocked their emails after a month just to see. Nothing. It was like they had fallen off the face of the earth. I had no idea what had happened after they were kicked out of the bank. I had no idea what they were doing. And I found that I didn't care. The guilt had burned away. It was replaced by a cold peace. I was healing. The weight I had been carrying for 20 years was gone. I was lighter. I was happier. I was sleeping through the night for the first time since Mark died. Then the whispers started. It began with my Aunt Patty, my dad's sister. She was a nice woman, but she loved gossip. She had always been on the edge of the family drama, close enough to watch, smart enough to stay out. She called me. Maya, honey, she said. Her voice was full of fake concern. I haven't heard from you. How is that sweet boy of yours? He's great, Aunt Patty. He's recovering so well. The doctor said he's doing amazing. Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful. I was so worried. Your mother said it was... Well, she was very upset. I waited. Listen, I'm so worried about your father. My stomach tightened. Oh, why? Well, I saw him the other day. At the grocery store, Maya. He looked terrible. He've lost so much weight. He looked old, and he was driving that old pickup truck of his. I knew the one. A 20-year-old rust bucket he kept in the garage for projects. What happened to his car? I asked, even though I didn't want to. That's just it, she said, her voice dropping. He had to sell it. He told me he's having cash flow problems. Oh, I said. And your mother? She's not answering her phone. She's not in her garden club. It's like they've disappeared. Is everything all right, honey? I knew what she was asking. She was fishing. She wanted the story. We're fine, Aunt Patty. Ethan and I are doing really well. But I have to go. He needs help with his homework. Oh, okay, honey. Well, you take care of yourself. I hung up. He sold his car. The car I had helped him buy. I felt a small, dark flicker of, not satisfaction, but justice. You can't drive a car you can't pay for. That was just a fact. A few weeks later, the second whisper. It came from a friend, a woman I had gone to high school with. She was a caterer. She sent me a text. Hey Maya, long time? So this is super awkward, but your sister's wedding? The one I was supposed to cater? My heart thumped. I replied, hey, what about it? Well, she postponed it, which is fine, but her fiancé called me. He called me, not Chloe. He was canceling. For good. I stared at the text. He said the wedding is off, permanently. And he was really angry. He was asking if I had a contract with Chloe or with him. He was trying to get his deposit back from me. Wow, I texted. I know, right? And here's the crazy part. I talked to the florist. Chloe's fiancé is a nice guy, right? He paid for everything. The dress, the venue, the flowers, all of it. And apparently, your family was trying to get him to pay for a car for your dad? My blood went cold, of course. They had lost their ATM, so they had tried to hook a new one. Chloe's fiancé. I guess he found out, my friend texted. He found out they had no money. He found out, I don't know, something bad. Because he's not just postponing. He left her. He's gone. The wedding was off. The 10,000 dress. The shoes. The flowers. All for nothing. Because the money had run out, and the man had run off. He had seen them for what they were. It had taken him 6 months. It had taken me 34 years. The final piece came from social media. I didn't follow Chloe, I had blocked her. But a college friend who still followed us both sent me a screenshot. It was a post from Chloe. It wasn't a postponed post. It was a for sale post. She was selling her jewelry, the handmade jewelry from her business, and her engagement ring. The caption was, everything must go. Need to reinvent my life. Starting over. Cash only. And then the comments. One from an old neighbor. Chloe, honey, I heard your parents are moving. Is it true? Chloe's reply. The bank is stealing our house. It's all a nightmare. The bank. Not, Dad made bad deals. Not, we spent money we didn't have. The bank was the villain. And I knew that I was the real villain. In their story, I was the one who had set the bank on them. I was the one who had destroyed her wedding. I was the one who had ruined their lives. I looked at the screenshot. My mother blamed my father. My father blamed my sister. And my sister blamed me. They were a circle of fingers, all pointing at someone else. They were selling their cars. They were losing their house. My sister's perfect life was gone. They were collapsing. Their whole world, the world I had paid for, was falling apart. Because the one person holding it up had finally let go. I looked at the text. I looked at the picture of the ring. I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel sad. I just felt nothing. I wasn't their villain. I was just the silence after the storm. I was the void left when the giver finally closed her hands. I deleted the screenshot. I went back to helping Ethan with his puzzle. They weren't my family. They were just people I used to know. They were just ghosts. And I was done seeing them. 6 months passed. Winter came. It was cold and gray, but my house was warm. I had been promoted at work. I was good at my job, it turned out, when I wasn't spending all my energy managing my family's constant crises. My new boss, a woman named Sarah, had pulled me aside. Maya, she said, your work in the last few months has been incredible. You are focused. You are a leader. We're giving you the new project. It was the first time in my life I had been praised for my work, not for my help. It felt good. Ethan was thriving. The scar on his chest was no longer pink and angry. It was a faded, silvery white line. He was in his school's soccer club. He ran. He ran and he didn't get tired. He was fast. He was loud. He was a normal 7-year-old boy. And he was all mine. Our new life was quiet. We had a routine. School, work, homework, dinner, play, sleep. On weekends, we went to the park. We went to the science museum. We built a life, just the two of us. It was a small life, but it was strong. It was built on peace, not on drama. One evening, we were at the kitchen table. It was snowing outside. Big, soft flakes. I was paying bills. But this time I was paying my bills. My mortgage. My electricity. My car payment. There was no spa. There were no new clubs. There were no emergencies. My savings account for the first time in my adult life was growing. I was saving for our future, for Ethan's college, for a vacation for the two of us. It was a strange feeling. A good feeling. Ethan was drawing. He was quiet, focused. His tongue was sticking out of the corner of his mouth. He was drawing a picture. "Mom?" he asked softly, not looking up. "Yes, baby. Where's Grandma?" My hand stopped moving. The pen hovered over the envelope. I had been waiting for this. I had been dreading it. I took a breath. I would not lie to him, but I would not poison him. "She's far away, honey," I said. "Where?" "She's in her own house." "A different house?" I knew from Aunt Patty that they had lost the house. They were renting a small apartment. "Oh," he said. He kept drawing. "Why doesn't she visit?" My heart ached. "She's not able to visit right now, sweetie." "And Auntie Chloe?" "And Grandpa?" "Them too. They are busy with their own things." He stopped drawing. He finally looked up at me. His eyes were so clear, so honest. Do they not like us anymore?" That was the one. The question that cut me right open, because it was the question I had been asking myself. "Oh, Ethan," I said. I put down my pen. I turned to him. "It's not about you, baby. It's not about you at all. You are the most wonderful, amazing, bravest boy in the world. They love you." I felt a prickle. Was that a lie? I didn't know. "It's about me. I had to make a hard choice. To keep us safe. To keep us peaceful." He looked at me. He was so smart. He was trying to understand. "So, they're not coming back?" "No, honey." "I don't think so." I waited for him to be sad. I waited for him to cry. He just nodded. A small, thoughtful nod. Then he went back to his drawing. I watched him. What was he thinking? He finished. He held up the paper. It was a picture of us. 2 stick figures. One was tall, one was small. We were holding hands. We were in a house. There was a big sun in the sky. It was our family. He smiled. And then he said the 4 words that changed everything. "That's okay. I have you." I looked at him. I couldn't speak. All the pain, all the anger, all the doubt, all the years I had spent trying to earn love from them, begging for it, paying for it. And here it was. This little boy. He just gave it to me. For free. "That's okay. I have you." He wasn't sad. He wasn't missing them. Because he had what he needed. He had me and I had him. And it was enough. It was more than enough. It was everything. Tears streamed down my face. "Mommy, why are you crying? Is it sad?" I laughed. I wiped my face. "No, baby, it's not sad. It's the happiest I've ever been." I took the picture from his hand. "This is the most beautiful picture I have ever seen. I'm going to put it on the fridge, where I can see it every day. Those 4 words, I have you. They healed more than time ever could. They healed that scar. They healed my broken heart. They proved that love doesn't need blood. It doesn't need a last name. It just needs presence. It just needs to show up. My old family. They were blood, but they were never present. This little boy, he was my family. He was present, and he was all I would ever need. My mother wanted $10,000 for a dress. I gave her $1 and a lesson. Love isn't bought. It's shown. The real family isn't who shares your last name. It's who shows up when the world stops spinning. Every night, I light a candle for peace. Not for them, but for the woman I used to be, the one who believed family meant forever. Now I know family isn't forever, but peace can be.